Pitbull, man.
Or Shareese.
Yeah.
She's mean. That's why I like
Yeah,
her. I like that she's transparent. I like that she's real.
You like her. I get your business, but I need more.
All right.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We'll talk to you guys about Devin. Has he really learned his lesson? I don't think Devin's learned his lesson. I'll be honest with you. I don't think Devin has fully learned his particular lesson on dating. Because how is it that he was happy to say, I like Shareese? Why? Because she's mean. And I like that. But wasn't you complaining that you had a baby mother who was moving mad and you couldn't really see the kid? So you want to be attracted to mean characteristics? Let's talk a little bit about why people make repetitive mistakes over in dating and how they continually make those same mistakes and then complain about the outputs that they get. Let's have a discussion about that. If you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there, they're hot. All right, let's get into this and talk on a real level. Because it's real right now. Do you get what I'm saying? It's real right now. Okay, let's get into this. All right. So we had Devin complaining and giving us a story about how his baby mother previously, was part of the reason why he couldn't really see his child, right? 10-year-old kid. And he made it out like she was a bad meanie, right? Cool. All right. Whether you agree with him or you disagree with him makes no difference. What makes the difference, what does bring up as an important conversation though, is that in the Shareese situation, I get it. Shareese showed him some affection, some care, and you know what? In the midst of when Kadeen was going at him, Shareese stood up for him. So that's a really big thing. That's going to make him feel cared for, loved, and protected. I totally get that. But now you're hearing the fellas speak as well, and you're hearing how the fellas are saying they're not really getting on with Shareese like that. They're not really getting on with Shareese like that. But the one thing that you mentioned that you had noticed yourself was that she was mean. Now that's if you had said, you know what, oh, I didn't get that from her. I got completely different Shareese, loving, caring, bubbly, warm. Then I'd be like, all right, cool, he got a different perspective. But no, you got a perspective, right, where you are saying yourself that the person is mean. Mean. Which means in this particular case, you've noticed a behavior, you've clocked it, you've acknowledged it, but it's like you're ignoring it because you didn't not long ago tell us a story about how baby mother was moving mad. So do you want another woman that's potentially going to move mad? And this tells me a lot about Devin himself if he's to follow through with this. If you're to follow through with a woman that you feel is mean, but you end up trying to pursue it, that tells me about how you feel about yourself. That tells me about how you see things. Why would you want to be with somebody that's mean? Is that a similar energy that you've seen in your childhood? Maybe is that, and I'm only throwing questions out. I'm not actually saying it, but if for definitely need more information, is that someone who maybe parent giver was similar, mother figure was very similar? You know what I mean? Do you actually not value yourself and you like being trashed upon, or you like being taken advantage of, or you feel like you have to be in a situation where you try to save people? What is it? Because why is it that we want to go after somebody who's mean? Do you know what I mean? That part doesn't make sense, right? Or I should say, not that it doesn't make sense. We need more understanding of the way your mind works in this particular instance. But people make these repetitive mistakes in dating because they are failing to take accountability. They're failing to review the tapes where they have inputted into this thing and caused issue. I said this in my other video. I said, when he spoke about the baby mother and not being able to see the kid, he failed to take accountability when he told the story in a way that made all the onus of blame onto her. Meanwhile, he hadn't done the work. Meanwhile, he hadn't gone to the court. Meanwhile, he hadn't applied to do the legal route. Now, I'm not saying it was the right time for Kadeen to say it, but it doesn't make a difference. The truth was the truth. He hadn't done that work. Why? If she's that mean, why hadn't you done it? Right? Gone through the legal route. Now, of course, it might be a little bit tougher. And of course, the stats are saying that women oftentimes seemingly win or at least come out of court with either joint or full custody, right? Fine. But you still want to see your son, right? You still have that desire to. So then the legal route has to happen. Two, failing to take accountability means that you refuse to see what part you played in it. Therefore, you're doomed to repeat the same thing you did before because you failed to see what you did. right? You fail to see what you've done wrong. And people fail to do this in dating so many times. They think they don't stink, and they repeat the mistake over and over and over and over again. You don't change the input to get different output. If Devin wants a different output in dating, sir, please, we need you to change the input you're bringing to the table. Now, I am limited in my information, and therefore there may be a different perspective he may come with. But for now, for what I see through the edit of the show, you're making seemingly the same mistake again. You're going after somebody who, at the end of the day, potentially is going to be mean, and you're going to be in a situation, probably more than likely again, where you're going to be fighting for your life, right? And it will all be because you decided that you wouldn't take accountability by choosing differently and by reviewing your own mistakes in the past to say, that's not what I need. Right? And I'll tell you what I think has happened with Devin. I told you about Devin. Devin doesn't like being judged, doesn't like that feeling, right? And that's why Kadeem probably will never get a chance with him. I think what Shareese did in that moment has covered her for all eternity. The moment that she stood up, she was pitballing and stood up for him. So the thought process is, you know what? She might be a bit of a pitbull. She might be a bit competitive. She might be a bit mean. But for me, she doesn't do that to me. You know, she's a bit mean, but that's cool. But she's mean to other people, which means she can protect me. Because I felt like Devin's maybe emotionally might not be protected, might have not been protected in the past. And I think someone like Shareese, who's willing to stand up for him, even in the midst of Kadeem, says, hey, this girl's going to be loyal. This girl's going to be supportive. This girl's going to be protective over me, right? And that's what I need. So I'm going to ignore the meanness because I don't think it's going to come onto me. It's going to come onto other people. That's fine. As long as it's not me. As long as it's that when we interact, that's not what I get. Because that's not what we saw with Shareese, is it? We didn't see that meanness with Devin. We saw her all going, all nice for him. Right? So I think that's a big thing there for Devin. I think he likes or wants and needs a person to cover him, and protect him. And nothing necessarily inherently wrong with that, but it's leading him to a place where he's ignoring seemingly, I would say, red flags, because all the boys now saying as well, like, bro, like, she's too much. You know what I mean? So I think Devin needs to sit down, review the tape, ask himself some real questions, ask himself what's within myself that is getting pulled. The Bible says, Jesus said, listen, the prince of this world cometh, but he has nothing in me. There's nothing that he offers that is going to attract me to him, because see, temptation is from within. God doesn't put you in temptation. You are tempted by the desires that are within yourself. Therefore, if a person that sees you, someone like Shareese, and you're drawn to her, there's something within yourself that's drawn to her. It is what it is. Like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you. Let us know your thoughts down below.